Hello, and how are you? Welcome to our second session of creating mobile applications. We're going to set our timer and make 40 minutes since the first session was pretty long. Closer. Okay, so let's get started from where we stopped at. I hope you can see my screen clearly. Can you? Can I get someone to respond? I shouldn't be here alone. Hello? Members, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
You can hear me, eh? Okay. So now I'm going to start explaining things, eh? Now be attentive here. How to simbude. Now, when you open your, when you start your Flutter project, as I said, you'll have most important folders. This lib folder and the what and the pubspec.yaml, YAML. So this will be putting our configuration. Then this lib folder, it is where our projects are going to be. Okay. So in the lib folder, you'll find the main.dat file. So you can as well collapse these things from here. You see? So in this main.dat, it is where our project is going to be. All the project files are going to be stored. So I'm going to explain step by step, and I show you how things are organized in a Flutter project. So in the main.dat, you'll find there the main function. As you know, in every dat program, the main function must be there where the project will begin from. So this main function is the one that we'll call what we call the app. You may not understand the whole magic here, but at least you should be able to get the what, the concepts. So it will call this app. So this app will be extending a class called stateless widget, but you're not the one who's going to create these things, okay? So don't mind about it. Stateless widget, and this stateless widget will have a constructor called my app, and it will be invoking the super.key. Don't mind about this one. So in case there is a key, it will be invoked from here. Then we'll have an overriding of the build method. So this build method is the one that will be called by the operating system for the app to start executing. So the whole logic of the app will always start from here. And then there we have now the app itself, which is the app component, which is this one, stateful widget, the one that you see here. Okay. Right now they may not be making sense, but when we proceed, I'm going to explain everything so that you can understand everything, how they are related to each other. Now, we have what we call material app inside this build. So material app is now the real system that is giving the structure of the whole application. So the Flutter people, they realize that we may need someone to help us to organize how our app should be should look like. For example, being able to control this space here on top and the whole space in the system. So to do that, we need something called material app. So that material app will take parameters such as the title. So this title, it is now the main title of the particular page that we have opened. For example, this was called the Flutter demo. And then we have the theme data. So this theme data, it is where you're going to we'll be putting the information about the theme or how our application should look like. Then a material app will have a parameter called home. Don't worry about the Chinese that I'm talking about right now, but just I want you to get the concept, because most of the things here, they'll be generated, okay? So the home, it is where now the project will be, the main project. Now this home is going to become a class. It's going to be a class that is extending a stateful widget, We have two types of widget, stateless and stateful. We'll explain everything, okay? So this is now the screen itself, okay? You see there are two, the one that sends the stateful and another sends the stateless. So this is now the page that we are seeing here. So the page will have to, the stateful widget will have to have also the parameter, but this parameter is optional. You see, it is having a title, so in case you want to display title, you can have it here. And once you pass through this parameter, you can access it from the other side. And when you create a state, you will have now the real class itself here, okay, that is going to display on the screen, which is this one here, the one that you're calling here, this guy here. So create state will call this one, and this one's the one that we're going to now display things on the screen. Once we remove useless things, we'll be able to do what? Relate them. For now, don't mind about the confusion that is there, but when you proceed, you'll be able to put them together and understand. And don't worry, most of things are going to be what? To be auto-generated. Now, once you do that, you see, we have a function here. This is a function. You remember how we created the function? We have a variable, a public variable called what? Called counter, and it is having 0. It is an integer. And then we have a function called we have a function called what? Called increment counter. So the task of this function will be calling it to increase the what? The counter. So you see, every time you call this function, we are doing plus plus. So meaning it is increasing one by one. And then there is something that we have surrounded with, which is called set state. As we proceed, we'll explain and everything about the state management. So right now it might not make sense for you, but don't worry, we'll explain it. But the main purpose of this function is to increase the counter. Then this is the counter value that you're seeing here. Because when I click on this plus, you see I'm able to get this. Okay. So now we have the build method that is inside this stateless widget. I mean this widget that sends the state. Now it is where we're going to return what we call scaffold. A scaffold is a structure of our app. For example, the scaffold will have something called app bar. So app bar is this thing that you're seeing on top here, that blue part, what you call the app bar. So if I remove this app bar, it means that this screen will not have the app bar. You see, I've deleted it, and I save, so it will do auto reloading. Oh, sorry, let me first stop the Techno. It is now updating from the Techno. Let me stop the Techno, and let me run it from the emulator. Okay, so it is going to execute from the emulator. So this is the app bar. Now we have the body. The body is what you're going to see here. So the app bar is this blue screen, and then the body is what you'll be seeing in this section. Then we have what we call column. Column is a layout that we'll look at, and we'll see what it really means. And then other things, and inside this column, you see we're having now this text. You have increased this thing many times. So you see here we are displaying. If you still remember how we used to present a variable inside Flutter. So you see, this is here. It is here. So we are displaying this counter here. So that is how you can even display data into your counter. So with that much said, I'm going to delete all the unnecessary things, and I start everything from scratch, step by step, so that you can understand. So when Flutter creates for you such a thing, it gives you even some description about everything. So I'm going to delete unnecessary things. Okay. For example, I'm going to remove this button. So this button is inside the scaffold. Okay. And the scaffold, as I said, is a skeleton of our application. So they know that we may need this plus button because you're finding it on WhatsApp, on Twitter, almost in many applications, this plus button. So they know you may need it, so that's why they had to put it into consideration. So you don't need to hard code everything by yourself. For example, that you can find and then you make it use of it. I'm going to remove it and we're going to build everything by ourselves. I'll delete that guy, delete the comment, save. So when I save, it will update. You see, it's gone. I'm going to remove this app bar. I can remove the app bar. See, I save, it's gone. I'm remaining with what? With the center, I mean the main content. So this content, I can remove it also. I am going to remove the whole body. You see, I select up to here. So I've removed the body. I can remove these unnecessary comments. So what you'll do, you'll have to remove the unnecessary comments. You're not seeing my screen?
I'm seeing the screen, but it is now coming. We have not been seeing it. Is not.
It's not clear?
What you have been removing was not appearing on the emulator.
But can you see now? Hey, the emulator. On the emulator?
Yeah.
Yeah. I removed the app bar, it disappeared. Didn't you see it disappearing?
They have disappeared, but not instantaneously. They have taken some time.
Yeah, because of the network maybe. So everything going to disappear. So if you have an error, you'll not be able to do what? To save and see the changes. So if I try to save right now, so go ahead and remove all the unnecessary comments, just only the comments. Now, most of the things that we are going to do, I can remove in these counters. Most of the things that we are going to do them here inside the what? Inside the scaffold. Can you see? Where there is scaffold, it is where we're going to put most of things. So I'm going to show you that first. So we create this scaffold. You can as well create the scaffold yourself, and I'll explain how you can do it. Okay. So this build, we are returning scaffold. This is the basic thing that we can always start from. Okay. And now this scaffold is showing me an error. Why? Because it's expecting something and I've not put it. That's why it's doing like this. Now everything that we put in this project is called what? Is called a widget. Everything that you'll be seeing on the screen is called an independent widget. So we are going to we have removed everything here, but we have not put anything there, the part, something that the body should take. So I'm going to put here a text that's going to display the, as simple as my body, something like this, so that you should be able to see that this is our body where we are displaying the things. So to do that, if you want to display text in Flutter, there is a class for you. So everything will be called in a class and give it parameters, and then Flutter will do the remaining magic by itself. So I'm going to call this guy called text like this. Okay, it's a class. I open it and then I pass a string, double quotes, a string, and I say this is my body. Okay, so I've fixed all the errors now. So I save. When I save, you'll see it has saved here. Can you see? It is there on top. Okay, it is on top. I hope you can really see it. Can you see? It is on top. It is almost even in behind the time. It is behind the status bar. Okay, so we're going to see how we can now fully control our screen in a way that we don't have things even outside the what? The status bar. So that is how we can get started from. So go ahead and clean unnecessary things as I've shown you and remain with scaffold and only display the body. So once you do that and you're able to save and see the update, then that means you're in control of your project, whether using Visual Studio Code or using what? Android Studio. So once I have that, now the next thing that we're going to look at, we are going now to look at what you call layouts. So we have different types of layouts, but before we proceed to a layout, let us first understand what is meant by a layout. A layout is a feature, or what I call a widget, or a feature, or a component that will enable us to organize our things in different ways. It is just like you can see a table. A table is not a real thing, but a table helps us to do what? To organize our things in and put them on the table. It's just like you can see a basket. A basket is not a main thing, but you use the basket to carry our things, or to put our things in the shape of what? Of basket. So likewise to Flutter, we have what we call components, Flutter components or widgets. One I categorize into two. It is either a layout or it is either a component. I don't know how you can call it, or a widget itself. So a widget or a component is the one that will be able to show something or affect our screen, like the way you can see here, text. Then a layout, it will help us to organize the components. So we have different types of what? Of layouts, okay? Different types of layouts in Flutter. So among the layouts that we have what we call columns, and then we have what we call columns, rows, and containers. So I'm going to begin with one by one, and then as we proceed, then after we'll go now and proceed to what? To widgets. So listen very, very, very what? Very carefully. Now I'm going to put back our up bar, so that our up bar at least should be having a title. So to put up bar, I'll just simply come here into scaffold here and write up and then bar. Okay, so here up bar, it will take a class, so I begin with the capital letter up and then bar, like this. So Android Studio or Visual Studio Code will suggest for you up bar. Then I open the bracket. Now this up bar will take parameters. Among the parameters it will take, it is title. Okay, so title, it is going to be a text, is going to be a widget. So in this title I can pass text, okay, text like this, and I pass parameter and I say home screen, okay, like this, home screen. So you see, that's a home screen, and you see, this is my body. So that is good. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to start teaching you different topics by topics, but as I'm showing you them in the different screen, just like they have been doing. Okay, and when I will ask you to demonstrate, and I'll also want you to do the same thing, though you may be creative than me and do something better to show me that you understood it even better. Okay, don't do exactly what I've done. So every topic I'm going to give it a special section. So we begin with the first section of looking at layouts. Okay, so we're going to design something, layouts, different layouts. Okay, so the first layout that we're going to look at, we are going to look at a layout called column. As it sounds, column, you use it to design things in a horizontal way. So let me go ahead and create a column layout. But to create a column layout, it will be better to put it on a separate screen, so that when you're looking at my project, you can know, just like the way we did in that, you can know where I am or where I stopped. Okay, so I'm going to create a separate screen where I'm going to put the layout for column. So to create a separate screen, it means it will be better if I create what? A separate file. Okay, so I'm going to come here to my lib, okay, where you see lib, and I'm going to create a separate file that's going to contain separate information for the separate screen, and then I'll put here the navigator where I click on it and it takes me to that screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll right click to the lib, so everything that you do will be in the lib. So it will be better to organize your things into folders. So all the screens, they better be into screens. When we start looking at the models, the classes, so even the models, they'll be in their section. The controllers will be in their section, something like that. The widgets will be in their own folder. So I'm going to create here a special folder for my screens, or what we call activities if you're using Android. So I'm going to create here screens, others call them pages. So I'm going to come here and say new directory. So I will need you also to do the same things. Okay, new directory, I'm going to call this one screens. Okay, I'm going to put my first screen there, my second screen in fact. So I'll right click. So this is going to be nothing but a dot programming file. Okay, and I'm going to call this guy file. Okay, and I'm going to call it So when you're naming your components, it becomes interesting how you name them. Okay, so every screen of mine I'll be attaching for it on one screen, and every file I'll be starting with a capital letter. So that everything should be organized in that way. So for example, this is going to be columns screen, because this is where I'm going to demonstrate the columns from. So I'll begin with the capital letter and say columns, okay, screen, okay, that is column screens, dot, dart. Hope that's the spelling of column. Okay, dot, dart. Don't forget to put the extension of dot, dart, otherwise to not be seen as a what? As a dart program. So this is just nothing but a file. So I'll press enter. So they'll ask me, do you want to add this guy to your GitHub? I said, don't ask me again, please add. Okay, so automatically this file is being added to my what? To my GitHub project. So now you see this column screen is under screens. Now here is where we're going to put the logic of working with columns and the rest. Okay, so let's go ahead and create now the screen. So you can either come and cheat from how this guy did theirs, okay? But okay, let us cheat. But when we become experts, I will show you how you can even create your own without even cheating. So the main part that you're going to cheat from, or the main part that you're going to copy from, you just need only these two. You don't need these other things. All what you need these two. Okay. This one that extend the stateful, and the one that extend the state. Though I'll show you a shortcut of creating a stateful widget like this. Just STF and press enter. You'll be able to. But before we reach that side, let us first begin by copying, by cheating. So let me go ahead and cheat. Copy this guy, okay? And then come and paste. I just copied two things. The one that extend the stateful and the one that extend the state. So, I hope you are together. I think I should increase my font so that you guys can see things. I think they are still clear. I don't know. Let me increase the font. It is our screen, so why don't we? I'll come to editor. I'll come to font. I'll make it 20 so guys can see shit clearly. Okay, so there we go. So I've just copied those two. Now I'm going to explain everything. Now I've just put this one into column screen. Now it will be better if your column name is having the same name as what? As I mean the class name is having the same name as the column. So I'm going to name this class and this one. So what you have here is what should be here. So I'm going to double click here and call this guy column. First of all, okay, let me first begin by renaming. So I'm going to rename this guy and this one. By the way, you can expand. You can expand by just simply clicking. You use this part to collapse and expand. So I'm going to rename this guy. Everywhere there is home page, I'm going to rename it to that particular screen. For example, column screen like this. Okay, so that's going to be my class, and come and rename this guy here, and come and rename this guy here. So you see it is extending here state. So I better come and rename this guy here. I'll show you the better way to do that. I'll rename this guy here. Beautiful. So you'll still seeing errors. Okay, so this one should be a constructor, so it should have also the same name. I hope you are together. So you should still be seeing errors. So I want to remove these errors. If you want to remove these errors, there are two ways. One way, you click on an error, and then you'll see this red bulb. That red bulb will give you suggestions that will automatically fix your errors. So when I click there, you see my errors have been fixed by importing this class of Flutter. Other way, you can press Alt and Enter. I don't know on Windows machine, but on laptop, on Mac, just press Alt and Enter. But on Windows, try to press Ctrl and Enter or Alt and Enter to get a shortcut of this bulb. And you see the suggestions. Select the first suggestion and press Enter. You'll see errors fixed. So I'll do the same here. Click in the error Alt and enter, import the library, error has been fixed. So I have my second screen. So I can give this screen a what? A title here. Okay, I can call it column screen, or I can call it columns. We are going to cover the topic of what? Of columns. Are we together? So that is the basic part that will be used to get started. Okay. I may remove this title if I don't want to do it, but we can as well pass it. So it comes from the other side, and if you want to access this title from here, just put the $sign, and put the word widget. Sorry, put widget dot. Then you'll be able to access things that are from this title. So I mean that this title will be coming from whatever thing that will be calling this guy, but that is all option. It's all option. I can as well remove it. Let me show you. I can remove this guy this way. I just delete the title and I remove this one. I just only leave the key. This we are just showing us how we can use it. Then mean this title is no longer there. So I can call this guy columns. Okay, or we are going to cover the columns from. So if there's nothing going to change, you better put it constant. That is a constant. So I hope you are together now. Okay. Now the next thing is, how can we navigate from the other screen to this screen, or from this main home to this second screen that we've just created? So those are the interesting topics that you need really to be careful to watch and understand. So I'm going to show you how you can navigate from another screen to this screen. So to do that, I'll come back to our main function, to our main app. Now we have two screens, but they're not linked. And then I come to where there is, this is my body. I'm going to change it and call it maybe columns, or where I'll be showing the topic of what? The topic of columns. Okay, so I want when someone clicks on this column, it should take him to the second screen of the column. That is what we are going to do right now. Now, to do that, the first thing that you'll have to do is to add what we call a click listener, or the tap listener, so that when someone clicks on this guy, we should know that he has clicked on it. So to do that in Flutter, it is pretty simple. We are going to surround this guy with another widget. So to surround an item with a widget in Flutter, it is simple. You can either do it manually by hard coding, but there are other options that you can use. So you just simply click on this bulb. So we have two things that, if Flutter widgets have two things that will provide you. It will either provide you a child, means that item will expect only one parameter, or it will provide you children. It means that widget will provide you multiple parameters. For example, if I put on center, this center is going to expect me to provide it with a child or one particular item. If I put in column, as you know, columns, it is what? It is going to provide, it's going to have many items, so it will be children. So I'm going to put this guy in center, okay, by just simply right clicking. You see, I click on the item that I want to surround with the widget, okay. Whether in VS Code or Android Studio, you'll see this bulb. Click on it and then say center. So you see, Flutter will automatically do for us the what? The magic. Can you see? Now let me show what it has just done to us. It just created a new class called center and passed a parameter called child, and we've given it whatever was there. It has just added it. You can hard code it, but why would you hard code it? Well, yet there is a suggestion. Just click and then on the bulb and then put what you want to surround it with. So you see, these things are on one line. Okay, if you want them to be broken, it to be in the two lines, you just come here at the last here, okay, and put a comma. So when you put a comma and press Ctrl Shift L for Android Studio guys, and then for Flutter, for Visual Studio Code, Ctrl Shift F to auto arrange your code. If you cannot auto-arrange your code, search it on Google, how to auto-arrange, or shortcut for auto-arranging Flutter code. Put Visual Studio if you're using Visual Studio. Put Android Studio if you're using Android Studio. There your code will be auto-arranged. Can you see? Now my code has been auto-arranged. So the Flutter thing that you should know also, it is organized in form of parent and child relationship. So you see, this is center, it is surrounding the text. So it is a child surrounding the text. I mean, this is a parent of child of center surrounding the text. So if I save, you can guess what's going to happen. This thing is going to be put in center. Okay, beautiful. So if again you want to add another thing, it will also going to be a child to that one. So it will be child, child, child. So everything will be a parent to the what? To the other. Now, that's not the reason why we put this center. I put the center because I wanted to put a click listener. Okay? So I want to change this center because I know how to write it, the click listener by myself. It was painful. So I want to change it. But you can as well write it. So instead of putting this center, I'm going to put a click listener here around this text. So the click listener, as it sounds, it will listen to clicks or to the taps. So I'm going to put here, in Flutter, we have what we call inkwell, or what we call on inkwell, yeah? So the inkwell will listen for someone who is clicking. So if you click on it, the inkwell will listen to that, okay? So I'm going to delete this word center, okay? And I'm going to replace it with inkwell. So I begin with the word capital letter and then IN. You'll see inkwell will be auto-suggested there. So when I press enter, everything is okay. Now this inkwell will take another parameter called onTap. So that parameter, it is where we're going to put a function that will execute when someone clicks on this child that is surrounded by the inkwell. So I'm going to pass that parameter called onTap like this, and then put the colon, and then put the comma. So here it is where I'm going to put the function that I want to be called when someone clicks here. So I'll open the bracket and close it. So when you open, automatically Flutter will open and close for you. Come outside here, open the curly bracket and close it. So between here, it is where so between here, it is where we are going to put the whole logic of in case someone clicks. In case someone clicks, this is where we will do the logic. So I want, when someone clicks, I want to put here, maybe to print something in the console. So to print something in the console, it is still the same way. You can simply write print, and I say, hello, you clicked, or you tapped on me. On phone is tapping, okay, you tapped on me, and then I put a semicolon there. You see, everything is really straightforward and beautiful. So if I save, remember we remove the center, so our column's title will be here. So I'm going to click on run. So when you click on run, it is where I'll be seeing everything that comes in the console. So I can delete everything that is there, and then I click here. So when I tap, you see, hello, you tapped on me. So can you see? When I click, beautiful. You see? Things are coming. So it means that we are able to listen to someone tapping on something that we want on the screen. That is so beautiful. So now we want, when someone taps here, we want to open the second page of what? Of columns, or the other page that we just created. This one of columns. So that's when you come to what we call the navigation. So to navigate to another page in Flutter, you just simply write this piece of code. Okay? Navigator.push. I'm going to write it for you here. So I want when someone clicks here, I open the second page. So I'll come to this where we are putting, you have clicked on me. Here, I'll remove this guy. I want to navigate the other side. So to navigate the other side, you do like this in Flutter. Okay, you write in capital letter navigator. You will see it being suggested. Just press enter when you see suggested. Then you put dot push. Okay, so when you put dot push, it will expect two things. It will expect what you call push, and then it will expect the context automatically they suggest for you, and then expect for you the second thing is the route or where you want to navigate to. So where you want to navigate to, you pass the class called material page route, this one. Okay, press enter and it will take two things, the builder, and then you delete what has been suggested, open the bracket and put there context. Okay, so when you write it for the first time, it can become too much, but next time you'll just copy and paste just like I've shown you here. And then after the context, you put here equal sign and greater than sign, and then you put the page that you want to do what, that you want to open the class. So you know the class name here, it is called column screen. That's what you want to open. So I'll go ahead and either type it or paste it. Okay, so I can type it. I can type it column screen, the other class that you created. So when you press enter, automatically it will be shown, and then come here the end, put the semicolon. So I remove this guy. So that is how we can navigate from one screen to the other. Simple and straightforward. But I'm telling you, navigating from one screen to the other using React, oh my god, it is painful. You even need another external library. So Flutter is really beautiful. So you see, that's how we'll be able to navigate to another screen. So if you want things to be organized, you can separate this guy with a comma here and a comma here, and then you auto arrange your code with my shortcut Ctrl Shift L, and then you'll see when someone taps, you see this bracket will be executed, and this bracket is having navigator dot push, and you are passing context and material page route. It having builder and it has context, and it points at the next the column. So the next time you want to navigate, you will just come and copy this guy. You will not suffer again. Okay, so I save. So it means that when someone will click on this child, this function of on tap will execute this guy. So let's go ahead and see. So I've saved. So when I click on tap, boom, beautiful. You can see it, right? You can see it. When I click back, when I click, so I'm able to move into two different screens. So beautiful. So that is nice, isn't it? It is nice. So that is your first homework. You'll be able to, you should create an application that you can move from one screen to the other. So in the next 2 minutes, let us finish at least this first topic of creating of columns. So I'm going to show you how we can create columns in this second screen. So I'll come now to our screen of what? Of columns here. And you can see it is displaying our title here, and this is the body here. So instead of putting the body text here, I'm going to surround it. You can delete it or you can surround it. I'm going to surround this guy with columns. So to create columns is simple. You just come to the bulb and say columns. Then you'll have column. Or you just simply delete the guy and write column in capital letter with followed small letters, column like this. Press enter, open bracket. So every column will take multiple widgets. So if we're expecting it to take multiple widgets, we have to give it a parameter called children. Okay, so it will take children. So inside this children, it's where we're going to put now the widgets, or what we call the components. So I can say text. Now here inside text, I can say my text 1, you see. So if I want to add another widget in this column, as it sounds, it is a column. So I can put comma here, duplicate it. To duplicate in Android Studio, you press Ctrl Shift, it's Ctrl D, Ctrl D, yeah. Whatever editor you're using, you have to find a way how you can duplicate something. If you're using Visual Studio Code, I think it's Ctrl Shift and arrow down. Or you try Ctrl D. If you cannot do it, please go ahead and search. Okay? Because I'm not the one who created those things. So I'll duplicate, put this guy 2, Ctrl D. You see? 4. You see? Simple and straightforward. Ctrl D and 5. So if I save, I can be able to see my text 1, my text 2, my text 3, my text 4, my text 5. That is so beautiful. Is it? Our time is up. Let us use more 5 minutes to finish this topic of what? Of columns. So I hope we are together. Click on columns. I'm able to see my items in form of columns. They may look ugly, but as we proceed, you will see we'll look at more things. So that is it. That is so nice. I'm saying things are nice, yet I'm not doing them. So now each widget or each component that Flutter provides you, it takes multiple parameters. It will give you more options or more parameters that you can do with it. So to see the parameters, you can just simply come. So I'll come out of these children and click on top here. So if I press Ctrl and space, is it Ctrl and space? I will be able to see different parameters that this item can possibly. I mean, Ctrl and enter. Is it Ctrl and enter? Ctrl and space. Ctrl and space. On Mac, on Windows, I think it's the same. Ctrl and space. You will be able to see the parameters, the possible parameters. Or the other way, you can just simply press Ctrl, hold it, press Ctrl, hold it, and then click on the item. It will take you to the Flutter source code itself. You cannot change, but it will take you there. And you can see different parameters that they're expecting. Can you see? So that can give you a hint on how you can use a particular widget of Flutter. Or you can go ahead and search on Google and see multiple parameters that a certain particular widget can take. So you see, it takes children. We have already taken the children. The other thing, it takes what we call main axis alignment. So main axis alignment will help us to organize our code. And then you have main axis size, main cross axis alignment. All these things are there. So the most important part, by the way, you should also learn how to switch the tabs. For example, if I want to switch from one tab to another using using Windows machine, it is Ctrl and the tab key. I think using Mac. On Windows machine, it is Alt and tab key. You'll be able to switch the tabs. Alt and you'll be able to switch the tabs. Then Windows button with the tab key, you'll be able to switch the windows. There are the shortcuts that you will need as a developer. They should be inside you. Okay. So one of the things that we're going to look at is called main axis alignment. So the bit about Flutter, when you start typing, they'll suggest for you. So press enter, main axis alignment. So it will take main axis alignment that begins with a capital letter, and then press dot. So we have dot start. So dot start, it means that the content that are inside there, they're going to be organized at start. So if I save, you see, they're at start. So if I delete and I put dot end, okay? So I save, you'll see, they are organized at the end of the what? Of the y-axis. If I put dot end, we have dot end, we have dot center. You can guess. Dot center will put them in the center of the y-axis. We have dot space evenly. It will make them space in the even size, just because we don't have this in the form of a container. So you see, they have been spaced in the even size. We have another one called dot space around, dot space between. So the space will be between them. We have another one called dot space around. The space will be around them. Okay. We have another one dot what? Dot those are the ones. So if one put maybe dot start, then it will be on that. If I put dot center, then it will be in the center. So according to your creativity, you can see where you want your items to be, and you go ahead and put them there. That is main axis alignment. It has another property called cross axis alignment. So it will take, you can guess, it will take capital letter the cross axis alignment, press enter, press dot. So cross axis alignment is for the y axis. So I press enter. So I'm going to, the x axis. I'm going to center them in the what? In the x axis. I think because you don't have the width specified, so they'll automatically be there. So that is how you can deal with what? With the columns. So you can look ahead, you can go ahead and look at text baseline, text direction, text direction dot overline, underline. I don't know what this one means. Okay, but the main point here, we use the main axis alignment to organize where we want the items to be aligned. So that is just the beginning. In the next class, we will look at the rows, we'll look at the containers, we'll look at the text, we'll look at the images, we'll look at the buttons, we'll look at how we can create also independent widget and reuse them. We'll look at the list view also. Then we'll now look at the styling, the designing of those items. Then after, we can look at the navigators, for example, the drawer, the bottom navigator, the tabs, and then we can do now the logic of maybe communicating to internet, sending information to internet. Okay, we also look at maybe displaying images. Then we look at now the local storage, how you can maybe store the information within the Flutter application. We look at the external libraries, all of those. If you stick around, we'll be able to show them to you. So that's it for today. I'm going to push my code to GitHub. So I'll first stop my what? My project. So I've just done these two, this and this. Stop my project. Come and file, close project, close my emulator because this emulator takes much of my CPU, close the Android Studio, open my GitHub, come to my project, and then say first class session. Or I can say column topic, and navigation. That becomes my comment. And then I save, and then I push to GitHub. So it will take just like 2 seconds while everything has been updated in GitHub. So if I go to GitHub, open in GitHub, oh my god. So if I open in GitHub, you can see, if I come to lib, I already have screens here. If I come to navigate to main, see, I already have my main. If I come to screen, I have my what? My column screen. So from wherever you are, you can clone this project and start using it as you want. So that's it. That makes it for today's class. Unless there's a question, otherwise I'll give you something to try before the next class. So